Well, hello there. And yes, I am alive. Where have I been? Well, I've been here. I haven't really been anywhere. I've actually my computer decided that it didn't like making videos anymore or uploading videos anymore. And so yeah, videos. I made videos. I made probably about 10 or I shouldn't say 10. I made about 5 and then I got frustrated and I just stopped because the issues with my computer just kept mounting and I couldn't fix it and it was driving me crazy and I was pulling out my hair and I think maybe I finally got them fixed. It's kind of weird because I could do other things on my computer. I could play video games on my computer. Just wouldn't let me do, because that's what I've been doing on it. For the most part, I've been playing, not that any of you care, I've been playing Blood Bowl, which I would do a video review of it if I had the stuff to actually do a good video game review instead of just sitting here talking to a camera about it, because that doesn't really work with a video game review. But anyways, none of that really matters, because let's talk some wrestling, which I have not talked about in a while, about almost 2.5 months, I would say, at least, maybe 3 months. It feels a lot longer than that. It's not that I haven't been watching, because I have been watching stuff, and I figured I would just come on here and just talk about just some random stuff and try to get somewhat caught up and just give you some of my thoughts on things that have been going on. I'm sure I'll forget something because there's just stuff I'm gonna forget. But yeah, I guess we should start with WWE. I guess Raw went to 3 hours and I haven't really watched a whole Raw since. They've been pretty horrible. I heard last week's wasn't so bad, or this week's, I guess, wasn't so bad, but I just I'm just so turned off of Raw. That's just 3 hours is way, way, way too much stuff to watch. And I usually work Fridays anyways, and so maybe if I was home I would watch it. But even when I'm home and I'm watching other stuff instead of Raw. I watch Alphas because that's on the same time. Maybe when Alphas isn't on anymore, I'll watch. I'll start watching it maybe more semi-regularly, perhaps, or at least checking it out more. I don't even, for the most part, check it out because it's like, why bother? It's not very good. I did watch, let's see, what was the last I did watch SummerSlam. I don't remember if I really liked SummerSlam or not, or if I loved SummerSlam. To be honest, I remembered being so-so on the main event. I remember really liking the CM Punk match, but that's about all I really remember, I think. I know there was some I think there was some other stuff on there I probably liked. I remember it being maybe a pretty good pay-per-view, but anyways, um, I didn't watch all of what was the last pay-per-view? Night of Champions, was that the last pay-per-view? I remembered liking, or not remember liking. I did. I thought CM Punk and John Cena did an awesome job in that main event, which I think it was 3 years ago. I said that really they should look at putting CM Punk and John Cena, you know, maybe even at WrestleMania, because I thought the dynamic there would work really well, and I think it does. I think every time they kind of main event, I think it does. Even when they main evented that one time when you knew it was something funky was going to happen, it still had kind of that big feel to it, because it's a guy that gets a generally different reaction from Cena, and not a guy that's just getting a reaction because he's not Cena, and that's kind of awesome. Um, Unfortunately, he's the only guy to get that, and WWE has pretty much sucked at building up anybody. Which with the exception of Ryback, which I mean, if you look, the whole reason is because he goes out and he kills people, not because he's good, not because he's maybe all that charismatic. Though I guess he's somewhat charismatic, and part of it is that I think people you get the Goldberg chance for funny, but people get excited when he comes out, and I don't think it's brain surgery. It's because he's gotten a real push, much the same way that Sheamus has now gotten kind of the Triple H, the start of kind of what I would, kind of how Triple H started getting his big push when he was younger, and really they really haven't done that. I mean, the last guys to really get a push like that, a genuine, this guy is a badass push, was, let's see, Randy Orton, Batista, and Cena. That's it. Those are those are the guys, and what I mean, you know, when you don't push guys like that, that's what you're gonna get is what you have, where you have a bunch of guys that no one gives two shits about. And if you saw, and I'll talk about this later, if you saw the iPay-per-view that New Japan put on, you know, I mean, they do a better job of using a lot of the WWE guys than the WWE guys, and that was a pay-per-view that didn't even have MVP on it. So, and that's, to me, kind of speaks volumes. But so we have that. I really haven't watched anything from TNA. I won't lie. I might watch. I might. I think I haven't really checked, but I believe that there is a theater somewhere around here that is going to be putting on Bound for Glory, and I've thought about maybe going and checking it out, but to be honest, there's nothing about Bound for Glory that really has me excited. You know, so, but what are you going to do there? Then you have Ring of Honor and that whole huge mess. They screwed up another iPay-per-view, and if you follow me on Twitter, you saw me go on a pretty big rant about the fact that, you know, that pretty much could kill the company. In my opinion, if anything was going to kill the company, that would do it, because that is the, you know, you got the one thing that they make money on, and they fucked it up, and that's just the truth of it. And, you know, that, I know Jim Cornette has been replaced as Booker. I really don't think that's going to change anything. Really, the things that, you know, you have to realize that you have a that they are, you know, when you go back and you look when, you know, Sinclair first bought them, I think, I don't remember the video because I haven't watched the video, but I'm hoping that I came off kind of, there was a lot of, so maybe some hesitation in what I was saying, because, you know, kind of like, well, we'll have to wait and see, and I hope everything goes well, and we don't really know what they're going to do, and this, that, and the other. And the reason was is because there was no way of knowing how much money they were going to throw into Ring of Honor. The fact of the matter, they are owned by a TV company. The TV looks like crap. I shouldn't say crap. It just doesn't look good. And the fact of the matter is, it does, you know, if you're going to be on TV, you have to at least look good or have a look to you. You know, ECW never looked good, but it looked underground and legit underground. It wasn't like forced underground like sometimes you see. It looked legit, like, ooh, this is grunge and underground and that whole thing that, you know, Paul Heyman was going for, and you needed that. I think if you go back in it, and I would recommend anyone going back and watching both Heroes of World Class and what the Triumph and Tragedy of World Class Championship Wrestling. Basically, both the Von Erich stories. The fact of the matter is, you know, the guy that kind of got them on the map was because it was a young guy who knew all of this new technology and knew how to, you know, set up things because of technology and make the show look better than anything else anybody had seen. And the fact of the matter is, Ring of Honor really hasn't gone out and gotten some young guy who, you know, wants to make a name for himself and bring him in, and Sinclair hasn't done it either, bring him in and just let him kind of go crazy with different things and you know, add some production values where you can and make it look, make at least the show look like something you want to watch. So there is that. Then there's the fact that really, you know, people talk about like the high, you know, when the, you know, the glory days of Ring of Honor. But there just isn't that talent in wrestling right now. There just isn't. Particularly, you don't have that plethora of talent, particularly when, you know, WWE signs up a lot of indie guys that get a name, and any kind of indie guy that has any type of decent look. Then you've got the fact that you have TNA, who then, you know, has a plethora of guys signed that they don't need signed. And then you add to the fact that Sinclair isn't willing to spend the money so that you can sign guys away from the lower level guys, away from, you know, you're not going to get WWE guys, but you could get those lower level TNA guys, and they can't even do that. So the fact that Sinclair's not willing to spend money, that's a big issue. The fact that, you know, the talent's just not there, and that's not coming up with excuses, that's just kind of prefacing this. And the fact that, you know, you've also got, you know, the whole Dragon Gate thing, which doesn't help either. You know, they're if you look at what they have, they do okay, but they can't do okay. They have to do amazing. And the only way they're going to do, in my opinion, amazing is bring in the talent that can be brought in. I think bringing in Matt Hardy isn't a bad idea, but you have to bring in more guys like that. Again, if you look at the New Japan pay-per-view, there's all these ex-WWE guys, and none of them are in Ring of Honor, and that's a problem. That's a big, huge problem, because those are guys that need to be in WWE or in Ring of Honor. They do. I mean, you've got to sign some of these guys that are good, that can at least make your product TV-wise look, more like big league pro wrestling. I know people don't like hearing that, but that's just kind of the truth. You have to have guys like that. You have to have names. You have to have names to help build up your guys. That's what ECW did. You go back and look. They used named guys to help build up their own guys, and then when their own guys got built up, they went from there. And kind of that's how you have to do it. And among the other things that you don't have Low Ki. I thought they needed Low Ki when they went to TV. They didn't have that. I never thought Davey. Not that I don't like Davey. I just didn't think Davey was the guy when they went to TV, because I didn't think he was a guy that people would tune in, watch, and be like, "Ooh, I gotta watch this guy." And that's what you needed for your champion. And they don't have that. So they have all this stuff, and it's a big, huge problem, and I don't see it being fixed. I know Cornette got replaced, but it got replaced by Delirious, and I really don't see it being that big of a deal, because, again, you're not going to get the talent that you need, and that is a problem. And you don't need even that much talent. You just need talent. You just need 3 or 4 guys. I mean, I think for what people want Ring of Honor to be, you'd have to bring in Prince Devitt, and you're not going to be able to bring in Prince Devitt. But you should be able to bring in Low Ki. You should be able to bring in, is it Shelley? Is it Shelley that left? I can't even remember which one left now. But you should be able to bring him in. You should be able to bring in, any number of guys. You should be able to bring back Jack Evans, to be honest. So, there you go. So, that's the bad stuff. I have seen some good stuff. I saw King of Trios, and King of Trios was pretty good. It was nice to see that, Smart Mark turned around and actually had the show ready to download and to stream the next night. Or I think it was even, was it the next night? Yeah, I think it was that Monday. I think it was ready. It was either that Monday, or it was actually maybe that Sunday night. I think it was that Monday. So that was cool. I would definitely recommend everybody go and check it out. It's not as good as I would say previous years, mainly because you don't have that High Flyers tournament that's in the middle of it, which I think adds a lot to the weekend. They didn't have that, so it was booked pretty good. I can always nitpick Quackenbush's booking, because sometimes I think he overly books to his storylines, and I know some people don't agree with that. The other thing was I felt like the last pay-per-view, that the commentators really didn't do a good enough job of telling some of the stories, and they were just kind of there, it wasn't as bad as like PWG commentary, where they're just cutting jokes and they're really not adding much to the matches most of the time. They were adding stuff, but they weren't this is their big show. This is the show that maybe if someone's going to buy one of their shows, this is like the one show that they'll buy. And I think they have to, do a good job of remembering that, and kind of being new user friendly, or new viewer friendly, I guess is what you would say. So there was that. Again, it was good. I definitely would recommend people checking it out if you've liked it before. Like I said, I didn't think it was as good as previous years, but I think that was just because they just didn't have as many. They had a lot of good guys, but it was definitely, I would say, much more Shikara, specific, I guess. It had a lot more of those guys, which is fine. I mean, it was what it was. And I have seen most of the New Japan pay-per-view, which they've announced now that it was a big enough success that they're going to stream the Tokyo Dome show on January 4th in the United States. Yes, I will be up at 3 or 4, whatever o'clock in the morning that show takes place, and watch it live. I've never gotten to see one of these shows live. I would love to see one of these shows live. They've been hyping this show for a while, which makes me think that they are going to pull out some pretty big names to throw on this show. You know, the Tokyo Dome show is always the big show of the year. I mean, it's in Japan. I mean, it is literally, you could say, the second biggest show in pro wrestling to WrestleMania. Now, WrestleMania is a much bigger show by a much huge, I can't even put it on the screen, margin, but that's just the way it is. But, you know, I do have hope. I've seen pretty much all the matches. They're all really good. I wouldn't say, unless I know the main event's supposed to be really good, but I'm not the biggest Tanahashi fan. Never have been. I always get disappointed when I watch his matches because I hear people say how great, wonderful they are, and then I watch them. I'm like, that was pretty good, or you know, that wasn't anything too spectacular. But this is supposed to be some super duper, you know, it's not even supposed to be a regular Tanahashi match. Which, if it's that, then I'll probably really like it. I'm interested to see kind of the other matches, but I've at least liked everything I've seen, so there is that. And for an almost 4-hour pay-per-view, that's not too bad. So, anyways, but that's pretty much it. That's really all I've got. I just wanted to come on here and just kind of chit-chat and do all that sort of stuff. So, hopefully I didn't bore you guys too much. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say. I know there's the WWE, is the Ring of Honor pay-per-view this week or next week? It's sad that I don't even know. But I'm so far behind on Ring of Honor, it's not even funny. Yeah. Yeah, they sure capitalized on Kevin Steen winning that championship, didn't they? But anyways, let's see. I think that's it. So anyways, I'm out. I will be back with hopefully some more videos this week. I'm hoping to get caught up in the next couple of days on videos. So, and if I do go see Bound for Glory, I'm not going to order Bound for Glory. If the only way I'm going to go see it is if I go to the movie theater and see it, just to see kind of how that works out. But I will be putting up some probably non-wrestling videos, probably. Anyways, with that, I'm out. Have a good one. Sorry I bored you guys to death, but later.